This is the most excited we've ever seen Shen Wulong in the Kengan story. Kuroki Gensai has completed his boat training and is once again aura farming. Haruo has reached peak performance, one of the greatest glow-ups of all time. +1 frame advantage, you love to see it, legendary stuff. Tokita Oma is chilling with Rito and fully prepared for this long battle against the Connector, and may actually have a big advantage over many others due to his experience fighting in forests when mastering the Nico style. Most importantly, the ultimate technique Demon's Bane, something I hope he pulls out in this insane battle, and I still believe it solely relates to his master as his creation. But apart from that, we have other top tiers confirmed to be participating, such as Jirota, who has arrived, Lolong, Gao Lang, and we see part of Julius in the most recent chapter as well, which is pretty much more so confirmed in the draft pages, which you can see on screen right now. Goat stuff. No Wakatsuki arrival. We know he's coming because he's had his own dedicated training arc in the legendary Nico style forest as well, alongside beating up a previous Fang to demonstrate his improvements. So the Wild Tiger is definitely going to show up and be a key player in this legendary battle. Apart from that, we see that Segabahashi and unfortunately Okubo have arrived, so hopefully the bold man gets clapped by a random worm fighter. That would be great, alongside every other relevant Kengan fighter we've had over the years. Apart from Kure Ryan, so far it doesn't seem like he's participating in this tournament. We had previous chapters setting up the Gilbert and Kure Ryan fight recently, where Gilbert was pretty much told by other branches of the Wu clan that he pretty much needs to take out Ryan or he's going to lose all support, particularly from the Middle East faction. So perhaps while this crazy tournament is occurring, we're going to have Gilbert vs Kure Ryan at another location. That would be pretty sick. But the Worm have arrived, of course, Zia Yan, who is confirmed to be participating in this match. Can't wait to actually see him demonstrate his full power and have some crazy fights. Of course, the leader of the direct subordinates, me in the Kengan story, Fu, who's wearing the iconic goggles as always. We have the whole Nicholas Lee Banner, or the original one, who's part of the Worm plotline we learnt about recently, coming to be demonstrated, and many other things I'll be breaking down in today's video. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe here on Mysterious Chad. Check out the playlist with all the Kengan and Megan videos. You probably missed a lot of them over the last few years. I've never stopped making Kengan videos. Let's get into it. So I forgot to mention it earlier, but we also haven't seen Kano Agito arrive to the island so far as well. I highly expect him to be participating, considering he won the recent Real Champion tournament, which had the sole purpose of top tiers getting a little training arc to improve and get closer to Shen Wulong level, with Kano Agito having a massive improvement and power increase throughout that battle. He lost against Jirota prior to it, then somehow ended up in the tournament as well. Defeated Julius, defeated Lolong, defeated Galang, all in the same day, so legendary status, top 4 within the Kengan Association, which right now is definitively Kuroki Gensai, Tokita Oma, Kure Ryan, and Kano Agito. You can argue the order between these 4, but these are the definitive top 4 part of the Kengan Association. No one can really argue with it at the current stage in the story. But as a reminder, this isn't a regular tournament, it's literally a battle royale type of thing that could have hundreds of random worm fodder throughout, and likely will, considering the sheer amount of Kengan Association members participating, at least for what we've seen so far. We've had training arcs for most of these guys highlighted, particularly for the likes of Koga and Roki, who are still indeed the protagonists of the series. People forget, but technically that's their role, and of course we had Roki's improvements demonstrated against the Consecutors, a plotline which has now definitively concluded in the Kengan story. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a big waste of time. We know Kengan writing wise and just overall story wise has been going downhill for a number of years. I'm still incredibly excited for this current upcoming Battle Royale tournament, but plot lines like this were definitively a waste of time, and they have seemingly left the story forever. And when it comes to other key players in the story right now, such as Nico and Luhan, it's very possible they could play a role in the later half of this battle to take out Shen Wulong when he's already injured or weakened, something along the lines of that. However, it's also possible they won't play a part in this arc, and they will more so remain as the true villains post-Connector or Shen Wulong, or we could have some Blackbeard, considering what he did to Whitebeard in One Piece situation occurring as well. That is very possible, and how I actually see this tournament and arc concluding in some way. So as a whole, can't wait for the crazy battle. I greatly enjoyed the various interactions from the Kengan characters. For example, we saw recently in the story a Kengan match between Segabahashi and Okubo, where Marvelous Seki claimed that glorious victory, but seeing these two interact with one another again is great to see. Gaolang and Himuro practicing some boxing, preparing for the battle. We have Canada here, which makes me question whether we're going to see Hatsumi, another character you could say is considered a top tier within the Kengan Association, who honestly has been quite lackluster throughout all of Kengan Omega. Back in Ashura, he was one of the most important, fan-loved and strongest characters in the entire series, and so far in Kengan Omega, all he's done is train with Ray, who I also need to mention if he's going to be participating. We haven't seen him so far, and have a Kengan match against Canada as well so far in Omega. So realistically speaking, Hatsumi-sen hasn't really done anything, so hopefully he participates and makes an arrival. Perhaps in the very next chapter we're going to have Kano, Wakatsuki and Hatsumi arrive together as more so the OG top tiers part of the Kengan Association. That would be pretty cool. Apart from all that, we see Towamudo here, we see Kyozan, who's done some recent training with Cosmo as well, and actually was the opponent Oma had to use Demon's Bane on so far in Kengan Omega. Insane stuff. Rito, who's also had one of the biggest glow ups and improvements when it comes to power so far in Kengan Omega, due to of course Kuroki Gensai's training. He won the Berserker Ball, he's a certified champion and certified top tier in the Kengan Association now, so hopefully he has some great moments. Everyone is likely talking about Haruo and his current look. We know he went back to his roots. He's always had potentially top 1 potential in the entire series and has been disappointing for 99% of Kengan, but now he's in peak condition. He's going to definitely show up and cannot wait for that. Definitely one of the most exciting aspects, that's for sure. And with all this considered, I do hope this Battle Royale is actually a long arc, potentially 30, 40, maybe even more chapters than that, dedicated to the insane battle. Look at the sheer amount of characters actually participating here. Hundreds of Worm members most likely, hundreds of Kengan Association members. We see all of these supernovas, all the other relevant characters we've had introduced to throughout all of Kengan Omega, and even some OGs from Kengan Ashura. With the one character we still have yet to see return to Kengan Omega being Hazard, so hopefully he has his grand return here. That would be pretty sick. I wonder if we're going to get a Medicine Man update. We have seen him once so far in Kengan Omega, and I do wonder if Kiryu is going to have some type of involvement during this tournament as well, or maybe his story is more so going to connect to what Nico and Luhan are currently up to. That could be pretty interesting. But let me know your thoughts on everything going on right now in Kengan. Who you think is going to potentially win this Battle Royale, or the key players, and I cannot wait for it to officially begin. Check out all these other Kengan Omega videos in the playlist linked right here, and that's it guys, peace.